if you are a man who wishes that sex and intimacy weren't just a distant memory in your marriage, you have come to the right place. I recently made a video where I shared 7 desire killers that are not talked about enough. And today I'm going to tell you how to start fixing each one of those things. These are so common, and you might not even realize that they've been killing your wife's desire. The good news is, if you resonate with any of them, you can start turning things around. I'm Lindsay. This is Loving with Intention. Let's dive in. And the last one that I'm sharing, I believe it is probably the most important. And before I get into the first one, I just want to say this isn't about blame. I'm not saying you're the cause of her lack of desire. This is about zooming out and looking at your marriage so you can see the areas that your actions might be impacting the very thing that you would love. Intimacy. The truth is, just like her actions influence you, yours influence her. So the first thing that can make sex the last thing on her mind is yelling. If you are someone who yells when you get triggered, there are lots of ways to change this pattern. And one of the first ways is to get really, really familiar with your nervous system cues. Before you yell, when you start to get dysregulated and that fight part of your nervous system gets activated, you're going to have a sensation in your body. Might be a tight chest, a clenched jaw, sweaty palms, a twitch in your face, pressure in your head, constriction in your neck. Something will happen. And this is literally a cue that you are going from regulated and calm to dysregulated. And what usually happens for most humans is we just blow right past these cues. They happen quickly when your brain detects a threat, and then cortisol and adrenaline get pumping through your body and you get that sensation in your body. If you can catch it and take it as a cue to pause, slow down, take some deep breaths, then you can literally slow everything down and give yourself an opportunity to respond instead of to react with yelling. Responding might be taking a loving break, expressing that you're frustrated without yelling, or choosing another healthy communication pattern. And it's important to be doing things regularly that support your nervous system and bring in that calm. This could be meditation, walking, heavier exercise, breaks from constant stimulation like being on your phone, doing mindfulness, and so much more. I will share the original video at the end so you can see why yelling is a desire killer, whether it's a one-off or it is a pattern. But this video here is going to focus on how to change that pattern and all of the things that are coming. And this is a pattern, often a deeply rooted pattern. So another way to work on changing it is through somatic work, which is working with the body. I do this work with my clients around things like anxiety, anger, yelling, to really get to the root and do some major healing work. So there is so much hope to change this pattern. And we all have unhealthy patterns, your wife included, but I don't want to waste your time today telling you how she can work on her unhealthy patterns, because you are the one who is here and there is really hope to shift things. So another unhealthy pattern that you can turn into a healthier pattern is defensiveness. This is a real desire killer for women, as I explained in part 1. If this shows up for you, underneath this pattern, there are beautiful, valid needs. For example, if she brings up to you that you hurt her feelings and you say something like, I didn't mean it like that, it was just a joke, you're so sensitive, that is defensive. It's also critical too. Underneath that response, you really just want to be seen for your best intentions. You want understanding, you want harmony and not another argument. There are always needs under our unhealthy patterns, but the person on the receiving end, they don't see the needs. She just feels the hurt of your defensiveness. So changing this pattern, and I have personal experience with this one because I am still working on it, and I started changing it 8 freaking years ago. So I share that because change can take time depending on how well worn this pattern is and the dynamic that you've got in your marriage. So the first step is recognizing it and then finding out the needs underneath. You can comment roadmap, and I will share my free love journey roadmap with you, where you will get the step-by-step process to identify those needs so that you can really, really change this. So comment roadmap for that. And also, according to the Gottman Institute, taking responsibility is the antidote to defensiveness, which means when you find yourself starting to get defensive, and you're going to get nervous system cues for this as well, you can pause and look for something to take responsibility for in what she's saying. So say she's saying to you, that's not funny, I don't like it when you say that. Instead of saying it's just a joke, it's saying something like, I'm sorry, it's not a joke if it bothers you. Or if she says, I feel frustrated that you didn't take out the garbage when you said you would. Instead of saying something like, I've been so busy today, I totally forgot. It's saying, you're right, I didn't follow through. It makes sense that you're frustrated. The defensive reaction escalates the conversation, while the personal responsibility takes it in a whole new direction, a much healthier direction. Defensiveness sends the message, what you are saying doesn't matter to me. And she can end up feeling like she doesn't matter, which can obviously pump the brakes on wanting to get intimate. Showing her she does matter starts to change the vibe. And you can also change the vibe by turning up appreciation and gratitude in your marriage, because a lack of those things is a total desire killer. I've had women share that when they start feeling seen and appreciated by their husband, they start feeling more open to and interested in sex and intimacy. Appreciation is the antidote to contempt in relationships. So on all accounts, this is majorly important to have flowing in your marriage. Start looking for things to appreciate, from the mundane, everyday things that she does to who she is as a person, recognizing her strengths and sharing those things with her. I appreciate that you filled the car with gas on your way home. Now I don't have to think about it on my way out tomorrow. Thank you. Or I appreciate that you get gifts for our parents. You are so thoughtful. With my personal coaching clients and inside my men's group Rise, appreciation is one of the big things that we focus on. And these men see their wives look pleasantly surprised when they start sharing regular appreciations. They feel more connected. And not only that, it increases the vibe in your house. When things feel challenging, it is the most human thing in the world to only be focusing on what's not going well and what you wish would change, which of course makes all of the sense in the world. And it also totally changes your energy, and it doesn't feel good. When you start looking for the good, your energy follows that. And when we're thinking about intimacy, if you picture a home with positive energy versus one full of complaining or negativity, intimacy is much more likely with the good vibes. And there's also a really, really important piece of appreciation that is often not recognized as appreciation, and it is speaking her love language. If you aren't doing this, it absolutely kills desire, like I shared in part 1. You can totally turn this around. If you don't know your wife's love language, ask her to take the quiz. I will share it in the description box below. I recommend saying something like, I want you to know how much I love and appreciate you, but I'm not sure if the way I show you actually feels like love and appreciation for you. Could you take this quiz? I also suggest not sharing your love language in that moment, because even though it's not the case, it can seem like I'm only asking you yours so I can tell you mine so you speak it. Especially if things have been challenging, it can really seem that way. Her speaking yours is so important, and often that's a better conversation for another time. Usually it ends up being that her love language is not yours, which means you get to get extra intentional with speaking hers. My husband's is definitely not the same as mine, and it's so easy to speak my own, but it doesn't land as love and appreciation for him. So every single day I am intentional about making sure I speak his love language in some way, because it is so important. And if you are hearing all of this and wishing that your wife would be working on these things so that you feel loved and appreciated and respected, I totally get it. That makes so much sense. Obviously, the truth is, so often it is one person who's seeking out support or watching videos like this, and that person gets to be the person who goes first. That person is obviously you, if you are still here. And I do make videos for women encouraging them to lean into all of these things and more. This isn't about men always going first. This is just about whoever this video is for going first. Things don't change unless someone starts making intentional change. So it is a great time to lean in. Speaking of leaning in, the mental load is the 5th desire killer I talked about in part 1. The weight of the mental load puts the brakes on desire. So what you can do, for one thing, is to acknowledge the mental load with compassion. You may have downplayed her mental load in the past or made it a her problem, invalidating the impact that it has on her life. We get to meet that with so much love and then actually step into her experience. If this is happening for her, no amount of telling her that it shouldn't be a big deal or that it isn't valid is going to change her experience. What starts to shift her experience is her feeling like you see her, you validate it, and that it makes sense. From there, you can start to get curious about how you can support her. So often in our relationships, we think that it's going to take like this whole personality overhaul or a big dramatic change in routine to make our spouse happy. Often it's the validation and the willingness to start having the conversation and then making small changes that make a massive difference. When I'm working with couples and we look at all kinds of sexual breaks, the mental load is definitely one thing that we explore. And just to be clear, sometimes it's the man who has the mental load as a sexual break. Whoever it is that's experiencing this, we look at the ways that together they can help that person lift the foot off the brake so they can even be in a place where they're open to sex and intimacy. It is definitely worth exploring. Also worth exploring is the sixth desire killer. Do you shut down and go quiet when your wife brings up her feelings or talks about something that upsets her or brings up one of those really emotionally loaded topics in your marriage, maybe finances, plans for the future, any other repetitive argument that comes up? This is another unhealthy pattern that sends the message, what you're saying isn't important to me. Remember, our unhealthy patterns do have beautiful, valid needs underneath them, so you can comment roadmap to find out your needs if you do tend to shut down. Knowing your needs is part of changing this pattern. And then, just like with defensiveness, knowing your nervous system cues and being able to pause when you feel them is key. It is also a pattern breaker to just name it in the moment. I feel myself shutting down and I don't want to. You can say something like, what you're saying is important to me. Can you say that in a different way? Or can we take a little break? Or can we slow things down? Letting her know that what she's saying is important and that you're wanting to stay present, that's a game changer. And like I said, with my own work on defensiveness, changing patterns takes time. And it takes consistency. You might not see this amazing positive reaction the first time or the first times that you do this. It can take repeated efforts to change the system, for her nervous system to trust that things are actually changing. And this isn't saying that she doesn't have a lot of things to work on. We all do. Again, this is just a video for you to empower yourself, because a wife that feels like her husband is present and cares what she's saying is a wife that is much more likely to start being open to even having the conversations around sex and intimacy. And I don't mean the same old conversations like you've had in the past that end up in an argument where you end up feeling worse than before you even brought it up. I mean a new conversation, the kind that looks different because you are working on healing and growing and changing, and you're seeing the ripple effect of that in your marriage. And in all of this relationship growth work, one of the number one things to work on is something that is a major desire killer if you don't, and that is taking accountability and apologizing. I was listening to my favorite psychologist podcast the other day, Psychology in Seattle, Dr. Kirk, and he was guessing that probably more than 70% of people don't apologize or take accountability in their relationships. And I was sitting there just nodding along in agreement because I know it is so common. There are so many layers to why people, men and women, don't do this, but I want to focus on how you can start changing this pattern. One way is to look at this list today: yelling, defensiveness, lack of appreciation, not speaking her love language, not acknowledging or supporting her in the mental load, shutting down, and choosing one of those things that you really resonate with and go to her and take accountability and apologize. Yeah, I made that sound really easy. It probably doesn't sound like a good time. It is a common belief. If I apologize, then my wife is going to think that everything she does is okay. We really get to zoom out on this. You can be accountable and apologize and feel frustrated, hurt, and upset by the things she does. All of that can exist at one time. And if you continue to hold back apologies and accountability, you'll have a wife who thinks, my husband yells or gets defensive or shows no appreciation, and he thinks that's okay that he does this. He doesn't care that he hurts me. I'm not saying that's true. I'm saying it's pretty easy to think that when we don't hear apologies. Just in the same way that if you are not hearing accountability or apologies from your wife, you might think that she doesn't give a crap about the way that she disrespects and hurts you. Often, like so often, it's not about that at all on either side. It's more that taking accountability and apologizing is so vulnerable. It is so layered with shame and beliefs that neither person is doing it. And this eats away at trust, connection, safety, and it makes a thriving marriage impossible. And I will say, if you do choose to go and own it, you might say something like, I realize I tend to get defensive a lot when things come up, and I'm really sorry that I do that. It's something that I'm going to work on. I never thought about how it must make you feel. That is so beautiful. And it doesn't guarantee a beautiful response. Sometimes when men and women are apologized to, it triggers the nervous system. It brings up the very thing that is so hurtful, like the defensiveness, and humans start to get dysregulated. It can also feel like He's owning it. This is finally my chance to tell him how bad it hurts. And not in a punishing, malicious way, but in a way of, I've always wanted to feel seen around this. I've always wanted to have this conversation. Unfortunately, a dysregulated nervous system plus wanting to feel seen and heard in that moment often means using hurtful ways to express it. So she might come back with something like, "You do always get defensive. It's brutal. You just keep dodging accountability." That right there, it's criticism. And you know now there are beautiful, valid needs under criticism, just like with defensiveness and shutting down. But you're not going to hear her needs to feel seen, to feel understood, for empathy. You're just going to get hit with that criticism. And I share this because it's common and I want you to be prepared if you're really diving in. So, my suggestion, if this happens, double down on your apology. I know I do it a lot. It's not okay. I'm really going to be doing the work to change this so you don't have to be on the receiving end of it. That can be so hard when somebody's coming at you. And that right there, that's you taking accountability instead of getting defensive in that moment. Doesn't make her criticism okay at all. That part is best addressed outside of this moment, though, because in this moment, you're not likely to be heard. And I have plenty of videos on how to address it outside of the moment. And of course, beyond just owning one of the things in this video, is starting to look at any areas where you might apologize for hurtful behavior. In my marriage, apologies flow regularly because it is inevitable that we are going to hurt each other. Apologies rebuild the trust that gets broken in those moments. This did not used to be the norm for us back in the hard days. And the weight of all of the hurt, it was so heavy and it created such a negative environment. I used to think I was apologizing, but I'd throw on justifications at the end. That good old defensiveness pattern showed up in apologies as well. So I share this because I've seen what a difference it makes to start taking true accountability and repairing. This goes beyond sex and intimacy, of course, but it absolutely has a massive impact there. If you want sex and intimacy back in your marriage, something needs to change. Often that change starts outside the bedroom. This is not a complete like how to bring sex back guide. It is layered and you can find lots of videos here on my channel, but this is a great place to start. Working on you is where it's at. And not just for sex, not even just for your marriage, but for how it makes you feel too. I know I am such a better person, such a better me when I'm rocking out healthier patterns. Life gets to get better. So your intentional action for the day is to comment roadmap and grab the free love journey roadmap that's going to take you on a journey of intentional change. You deserve a marriage that feels fulfilling in all the ways. And you can check out part 1 on the screen here where I dive into the why of why these are desire killers, because knowing that makes it way more motivating to work on them. I'm sending so much love into your day. Thank you so much for being here. Give this video a like if it was helpful. And remember that nothing changes if nothing changes. So let's have a super intentional week.